Today on our show,
I take over. Adrian runs the show. It's Adrian's show.
That's right, man. I'm passing the torch. Adrian's going to be taking over, and he's going to be talking about all sorts of fun shit for you guys. All that stuff is coming to you next on the Nerdynomicon. Welcome to the Nerdynomicon. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Adrian.
And I am passing the torch over to you, my friend. You're going to be running this shit today. And I'm going to be the one that's sitting here all snarky and all angry. I get to be you. I get to be the naysayer. And you get to hype up everything and suck the dick of pop culture today.
I don't think that's going to work. I mean, the whole, taking the reins, sure, but you know I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to be as positive as you about anything in life.
Well, neither of us have it in us to be as upbeat and positive as Holly does. So I guess we're going to have to play to our strengths still. But I think I'm going to be a little bit snarkier tonight. And you're going to try to be slightly more positive.
Are you going to be surly again?
I'm going to be surly again.
That was my favorite.
I'm going to be so surly.
Funny story, actually. Surly was from The Simpsons. I was making a reference to a coworker who actually did not watch The Simpsons and brought up Duff Man. Because we were talking about, dream jobs or something, and he described something that essentially was Duff Man.
Duff Man is surly with you.
Duffman and Surly. That would be a great podcast.
That would be an amazing podcast.
I would listen to that.
We should do that podcast.
You could do the Duffman voice. I might be able to do Surly.
Give us a shot. Show us what we got.
I don't remember. It was Surly. He had a kind of a Jersey accent, I think.
You're the one that introduced me to the concept of them. I barely remembered. It wasn't until you started bringing up Duff World or Duffland or whatever it was called that I even remembered them.
Duff Gardens, I think it was.
Duff Gardens.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's been so long since he only has 3 lines in the entire run of the series. It's still ongoing, so he could become a major player at some point, I suppose. But as it is right now, it's he's only got 3 lines. I don't remember. I just do a Jersey accent, and I don't even know how to do that. I'm painting. It's funny because I was talking to you about trying to get multiple parts on Man Seeking Dragon with different voice talents. Yes, you did. And I am talking myself out of that proposition right now.
I'm just sitting there. It's the weirdest thing. I'm writing it. I'm going to be directing and producing this. And, I'm not working by myself on casting, but, I basically am having the final say on casting. And we've got a lot of people involved in this already. Everybody from the Synthaholics is in it. You're in it. Holly's in it. I'm in it. Brooks got a cameo. Madison's already signed on from Rover Red, as has Christopher Bloodworth for a small cameo as long as he's got the time. Because what is his life? We've got Jamie Leroy from the Geekiverse. She's going to be in it. I actually wrote a role for her.
So when you said what is life, or what is his life, it reminds me of...
Seriously, what is his life?
It reminds me of something I actually got in trouble for at the first job I had when I moved to Austin. I was working in a campus bookstore for
I'm going to cut you off for a second. Are we not getting surly here?
Not yet.
Okay.
Wait, no, you're surly. Oh wait, I'm
Duff Man. in this exchange, I was Duff Man.
I'm sorry. We were talking. I thought you were supposed to be surly in general on the podcast today. That's what I thought you were referring to.
Personalities aside,
you'll get surly later. All right.
Yes, I'll get surly later.
Back to my story. If you could stop interrupting, Mr. Snark over here. I was first job after moving to Austin. I was working in a campus bookstore for the holiday rush, or the post-holiday rush, beginning of winter quarter or whatever, is a spring quarter. Everyone comes back from winter vacation and needs books.
I can picture you as a first-tier librarian. Sure.
I wasn't a librarian, though. I was helping pull stock and get it set up for orders. That's it.
So you were the librarian stock boy.
It wasn't a library, though. It was a campus bookstore.
It's the stepping stone to librarianism.
I would be fine with that. People typically leave you alone and it's quiet. This sounds great. And nobody uses them anymore, so you just play on your phone all day. or on the internet. Sounds great.
I'd like to apply for this librarian
right?
position.
Who cares what it pays? As long as it pays a living wage.
I've been kicked out of so many libraries. I'm, generally speaking, a very loud motherfucker. But I'm sorry, I'm interrupting again. Go back to your story.
No worries. And I totally believe it. I could see you getting kicked out of numerous libraries. I don't know exactly what. I feel like some of the times that you got kicked out probably weren't just for being loud. I feel like you were doing something rambunctious, like pushing books off the shelves or some shit.
Confession, and this is not a joke, this is legitimate. I did one time use the pages of Twilight as rolling papers to roll a joint.
What?
But that book is so bad, and in all fairness, 50 Shades of Grey had not come out yet. Otherwise, I never would have besmirched the writing of Stephanie Meyers. Because I may not like Twilight, but it is well written. 50 Shades of Grey, what the crippling spanking fuck. But that book wasn't out yet, so I had limited choices.
I mean, it's context, you know. You didn't have proper context to judge it. You're
exactly.
Like, oh, this looks like a turd. And then you see an actual turd comes, and you're like, oh, that's the turd.
That's the turd.
So,
that's the stinker.
Anyways, what is his life? Work in a bookstore. Trying to rein this in. Failing miserably. So I was working in a bookstore for the Rush, and their, I think it was life science or biology book, was literally titled, What is Life? And so on one of the receipts, I just thought I was bored one day, and so on one of the like pickup receipts, I put in "Baby, don't hurt me" because I thought it'd be funny, and apparently that's a no-no. I didn't actually ever admit to it until now, I guess, that happened. But they were trying to figure out who did it. Like, it was a huge deal. It was a huge
Seriously?
deal.
It was that big of a deal?
Was
that big of a deal. They had the case of the "Baby Don't Hurt Me"? Seriously?
I don't know what the thing was. The guy who was like the lead or the staff manager for the day, because they rotated. The
lead detective, let's call him what he is.
He was like trying to figure out who did it, and we had like a whole group, and he's like, he asked me personally about it, because I guess I look like somebody who would do that, obviously, because I am somebody who would do that. And at some point, he said, "Is like, he said something that's like, you know, it really doesn't bother me because I thought it was funny, but you know, just can't be doing that." And I figured that he knew that I did it because he was talking directly to me like I did it. And I said, "Yeah, man, man, I totally get you." Like I said that, which I felt was like admitting to doing it. Mm-hmm. And then like half an hour later, it's like, "Man, they still can't figure out who did this. Like we still can't figure it out." It's like, wait, what? I thought it was done.
Here's the real question: did you quit or did you get fired?
It wasn't really. I got, let's say, laid off because it was just for that seasonal rush. There weren't positions beyond a certain date, so I wasn't. Okay. I wasn't there.
Now, did you have any plans to go back?
Not really. I mean, I just needed money. Like I got here in Austin off of a bus with 2 bags of clothes and a laptop and a room to live in that I found on Craigslist, which I hope was not full of murderers, and no job. So I just needed money. I just needed something.
Texas has its stories, man. I mean, Jesus, that is the birthplace of Henry Lee Lucas. But that's beside the point. Here's my point for the reason that I asked, fired, quit, whatever. You should have played yourself out. On your last day as you're leaving, you should have just held up your phone, click, "What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more." You should have played yourself out. That way everybody would have been like, there he goes. Homeboy fucked with the receipts once.
That would have been interesting. No, I didn't have any plans to go back, but I don't know. I just remember finding out that the job was only going to be so long and scrambling to find more work. Because like, okay, well, this month and a half was great. Now what am I going to do? So...
Well, thank you for your chilling confessional tale for us. I'm hopeful that the statute of limitations has run out on "Baby Don't Hurt Me."
I guess I don't think anyone. Wow. I don't know that they would ever invite me back. I think my honorary degree from that bookstore is probably never going to happen, honestly.
All right, man. You about ready to talk some pop culture?
I'm super ready to talk. Oh my God, I can't talk anything.
And
Yes.
you're supposed to have the reins. God damn it, Adrian Steve.
Well, somebody keeps stepping on my toes, trying to force me to do shit. Hey, Robbie. Hey.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you about ready to talk pop culture?
Oh, I'm ready to talk pulp culture. Yes.
Okay, hit me with it.
All right, very first thing I want to talk about, the trailer has dropped for Star Trek Discovery. Did you check this out yet?
I did. You know I did. I was doing that. I was setting up. I watched it as we were setting up.
Ooh. So what'd you think, man? First off, are you a Star Trek fan at all?
I was, I think is the best way to put it. Like, I remember enjoying the original series, clearly not around for when it was actually on, but catching reruns and whatever. I was a decent fan of the original series.
Okay.
And then I was a pretty big fan of the Next Generation. Though
Patrick
I was
Stewart is the man.
Yeah, he's the shit. He still is the shit.
He can never not be the shit.
Right? But I don't think I ever got into it as much as other people did. But I would still say I was a pretty big fan. Like, I enjoyed the show. And there was so many people that were like, oh, I'll never watch that. It's nerds. Because that was when it was not okay to be a nerd. And you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, man. We've all been there.
So there was that. And then I briefly tried to watch a little bit of Deep Space Nine here and there, and tried to watch a little bit of Voyager here and there, and then
Seven of Nine. How could you
just
not?
Nothing.
Oof. We will be assimilated indeed. 7 of 9. Hells to the yeah.
Yeah. And then so
I'm sorry, but she was hot.
Yeah. No. I have someone in the room with me who I cannot. Never mind.
She knows.
Yeah. I mean,
she knows. So, I don't know, man. I myself have always enjoyed Star Trek, kind of like the way you were describing it. I've never been the world's biggest fan. I've enjoyed it. I've got fond memories of it. It was one of the first shows I can remember ever watching with my dad, sitting down, I think it was on Tuesday nights at like 8 o'clock, eating imitation crab meat and potato sticks. Don't you fucking judge me, Adrian. Don't you fucking judge me.
Oh, it's done.
But I do remember we used to watch a lot of Star Trek The Next Generation, which kind of got me into Star Trek the original series. Admittedly, when I was a kid, I didn't appreciate it. I'm like, this is hokey. What the hell is that thing in that costume just dancing around? Because it was hokey. But then again, so was Batman 66. And I've grown to love Batman 66, and I've grown to appreciate the original series of Star Trek. Never really cared much for Deep Space Nine. I enjoyed some Voyager. Never even gave a shot to Scott Bakula with Star Trek Enterprise, which is sad because I love me some Bakula. You know, Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
I loved it. But admittedly, I've never checked out Enterprise. And I really like the new J.J. Abrams movies. I really feel like they're a good bridge to get new people into the Star Trek fandom. I know that a lot of fans don't care for them, but I do. You know, I think Into Darkness is one of the best versions of Star Trek that's ever been made. I'm using cadence right now to speak directly to a couple of our fans. You know who you are. I love me some Into Darkness. I absolutely loved it. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's my homeboy. But here's my thoughts on Star Trek Enterprise. It looks good. It looks really, really good. We're getting a brand new captain played by Sonequa Martin Green, who people may remember from The Walking Dead.
Real quick. Did you say Star Trek Enterprise? Because I think you did, and I think you did not mean to.
I think I did. I did not mean to. Scratch the Enterprise, enter Discovery. We're talking Star Trek Discovery right now. That's who's the captain, Sonequa Martin Green from The Walking Dead.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I can't let that kind of stuff go on my show.
No, you can't, man.
I gotta smack some asses around here. Oh wait, that's a congratulatory thing in sports. Punch some faces. It is. That's a little rough. That's a little excessive.
Punch him in the face and slap him in the gills. It's like Shark Week every week in this bitch. Just slap him in the gills. Just initial reactions. I like it. I like the aesthetic of it. I think that the acting looks cool. I think it's definitely going to be an interesting take on Star Trek. Here's my trepidation. I know for a fact that this show has been plagued with problems, with people dropping out, the showrunner leaving, with writers being fired, writers coming in, writers quitting. Casting has been an ongoing situation for months now. I'm surprised that they have so much in the can already. So, I don't know. I'm on Wikipedia right now taking a look at it, and it still only says fall of 2017. We don't even have a release date for this yet. And they've been working on this for a while. The hype train has been huge for a while on this. And here's the biggest problem that I have is the premiere is going to be a 2-hour season premiere on CBS. Then the rest of the series is going to go over to their pay site for CBS, what is it called? All Access. So you have to use the CBS pay site to watch the rest of the series, and there will be ads. If I have to pay for something like that, I want the ads fucking gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I agree.
So, I mean, hell, I think it only took like an extra 99 cents to get rid of the ads on Hulu.
I think it's a little bit more than that, but not much.
Oh, well, thank you for stepping on my fucking toes there. I was trying to make a point, goddammit.
It's my show, goddammit. We got to get it right.
It is your show. With that in mind, I'll try to rush through the rest of this.
No,
I think that this show does look good. I'm excited to check it out, or at least check out the premiere. But I'm gonna be with caution on this. Now, on one hand, we also know another intellectual property that was just absolutely mind-blowingly fucking good, that was plagued with problems and rewrites and reshoots and everything like that. And that's a little movie known as Rogue One. That movie sounded like it was in fucking hell, and it had me very nervous for the finished product. And I think that this movie is unapologetically one of the best Star Wars intellectual properties ever thrown out there. I've said it multiple times. I think that this is Empire good. Not better than Empire. Empire still is number one to me, but it's on the same level as Empire. Plot holes? Sure. But I still think that it's one of the best ones out there. And that was plagued with these issues. So I think that that this show could still rise from the ashes, but I don't know. I'm excited to check out the premiere. I can't guarantee I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
But
so the real question is, with all these problems,
yes,
is it going to become a Rogue One, or is it going to become a Spider-Man the Musical?
Ooh.
Right? That's apt.
That is very apt. I thought you were honestly going to go the way of Fantastic Four, but okay.
No, nothing should ever go the way of Fantastic Four.
Oh my god, Fantastic Four was the Geely of superhero movies. Holy shit.
I still haven't seen it.
You're not missing any. The whole reason I saw it is we bitched about it on Polygon Table so much, I felt bad. I felt like I had to give him my $10. I feel like I needed to ask them to make change.
You went and saw the movie
tickets here. Okay, can we negotiate this price, please? Because goddamn. God damn.
You paid $10 to see that movie and you wanted your $15 back?
Basically, yes. You know, I felt like a lot of people did with Hook by Steven Spielberg, which I never understood, but whatever. I thought Hook was phenomenal, but I know a lot of people hated it. But that's beside the point. I'm falling down a rabbit hole here. Star Trek Discovery. Check out the trailer. We've got it up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/group/Nerdynomicon, or you could just look it up on YouTube. But why not join the page, man? Join in the discussion. We've got a good community over there. We're always talking about geeky shit. So let us know what you guys think. You think it looks good? You think it's going to go the way of Rogue One? You think it's going to fall down like Spider-Man the Musical? Adrian, what do you think?
I have no idea. I would hope. I don't think... I know I'm pausing. I'm changing my thoughts a little bit. I think it'll be decent. At the very minimum, I think it'll be decent. I find it really hard to believe that it would be Spider-Man the Musical bad, which is just a weird idea in the first place. I wonder... I'd love to hear some of the musical numbers from Spider-Man the Musical. That just popped in my head. But, yeah, I think they have such a rich kind of, like, catalog of inspiration to draw from all the other shows and the movies. Like, I feel like there's so much that's already in there. It shouldn't be hard to come up with something that's at least decent. Is it going to be amazing? Is it going to be like Rogue One off the charts? I find I just don't have that belief in me that many things can overcome like that. So it's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it. So I bet it'll be okay. We'll see. We'll just, I don't know. If Robbie, if it ends up being amazing and you love it, it's getting canceled. So there's no point. There's no point in getting too attached to it, I suppose.
That's a very good point. This could go the way of The Curse of the Palmer, which, you know, I'm honestly thinking about bringing like a whole round table about The Curse of the Palmer and just having guests for days talking about these shows, because there's so much good shit out there. And I feel like I'm so cursed that everybody deserves their chance to kick me right in the balls for loving shit because it gets canceled.
Hashtag like Death by Palmer.
It's true, man. It's true. Like, Holly was pissed at me for a while because of Selfie. You know, because Brooke knows that The Curse of the Palmer is a thing. She jokes with me about it a lot, and then eventually, a couple of years ago, when like every single new show that was really good got canceled, at least in our opinion, she's like, baby, I love you, but stop watching things. Just watch stuff that's already wrapped up. Like, well, why? She's looking on her iPad because From A to Z just got canceled, Selfie just got canceled, Constantine just got canceled, and Marry Me just got canceled. Like, are you serious? That's every new show that we enjoyed. I know. They're all gone. Like, well, shit. But Holly was pissed at me because of Selfie. Brooke found out that I loved Firefly when it first came out. Barely talked to me for like 3 days. She's like, so you're the asshole, huh?
Yep. We're placing it all at you, at your feet.
You know what? I got broad shoulders. I'll take it. I just got a message from David Duncan from Synthaholics Podcast. That's the Star Trek podcast. We're buddies with them over there. So I sent him a message right before we got started recording here. What was your least favorite Star Trek? And he answered back. So to all you Trekkies out there, is this going to be Next Generation good, which in my opinion was the pinnacle of the series, or is it going to be Voyager bad, which was David's least favorite of the series? I didn't watch Voyager all that much. I watched some of it, but not all that much. So if you guys say that's the worst, then that's the worst. Which one is it going to be? Next Generation good or Voyager bad? You decide, man. It's coming at an ambiguous date sometime in the fall, unless it gets pushed back further.
Didn't Voyager make it like 4 or 5 seasons?
They all made it like 6 seasons, dude. They all made it that long.
Even Enterprise? Even that Scott Bakula one? I feel like that one was dead in 2 seasons.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I have to look that up.
Yeah, why don't you look that one up?
I find it hard to believe that Voyager was the worst one. But I
would say it's all subjective. So all right, so that's Star Trek. I got one more piece, and then I'm going to turn the rest of this episode over to Adrian, and that is the news of H.P. Lovecraft. We're getting a Lovecraft adaptation, but in a way that's fucking awesome. Jordan Peele. You guys may know him from Key and Peele, or even more pertinent, you guys might know him as the writer and director of a little movie called Get Out. A little movie with, I believe, a $3 million budget that ended up raking in about $110 million, and basically redefining the face of horror movies for a while. I unfortunately have not seen it yet, and it pains me to say it. I just didn't have the opportunity to see it in theaters. But everybody's raving about this movie. I've done a really good job so far at dodging spoilers. I cannot wait to sit down and finally check this shit out. Maybe I'll get to it this weekend, because I did notice that it is available on some on-demand sites. But here's the point. He's teaming up with J.J. Abrams, you know, the guy that brought us Star Wars coming back, brought us Star Trek coming back. He's teaming up with him for an HBO show, already been picked up, probably looking at between 8 and 10 episodes, called Lovecraft Country. So this is sounding...
It would be great.
What's that?
If it's just Cthulhu playing the banjo. And overalls and a trucker cap.
I love that. God. Oh my god, I would love that even more than what that than what the series actually is.
If he just trolled us with that, it'd be amazing. It'd be Squidbillies essentially.
Like Naruthotep's over there playing the jugs. They've all got X's on them and everything like that. I love this. They call him the Crawling Chaos because he's too drunk to walk, bitch. I'm like, yeah, that's right. But no, Lovecraft Country. It's based on a novel, and it is basically Lovecraftian stories that still involve the Elder Ones, but it's dealing with racism. It's from the minority perspective, and it's from specifically one family living in Jim Crow, Chicago. I'm ready for this, man. I'm ready for this. Lovecraft with some racial cues, I'm in.
I don't know much about the Lovecraft universe, but sounds good to me.
What I also love about it is it's almost like a Black Mirror to Lovecraft himself, because he was a well-known racist. Like, I love the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. He's iconic. We don't get to Stephen King without Lovecraft. You know, he is the godfather of cosmic horror. However, the man, to say he was a bit of a racist is to say that Hitler had a bit of a temper problem when it came to the Jewish people. He was a well-known hateful bigot. So I think that this is absolutely awesome. Not only telling the stories and using the mythos of H.P. Lovecraft, but showing a Black Mirror to it. A phrase that probably is turning H.P. Lovecraft over in his grave right now. You know, I can love his work and still detest the man. He was a horrible racist, and I think that this is a great way to pay homage to his work, but still give him the middle finger as a human being. So, I am in. J.J. Abrams and Jordan Peele, arguably two of the biggest names to come out of 2016 to 2017 so far. So, I'm in a big, bad way.
What era was Lovecraft from? Just out of curiosity.
Lovecraft was relatively well-known and respected in the 1920s, but he really hit his heyday in the early 1930s.
Okay, so older, but not old enough where racism is, like, excused. You know, it's not like the 1700s or something.
Oh, God,
like that.
no, dude. The Civil War is already over. Okay?
Right. Gotcha.
So, I mean,
Gotcha.
we haven't had Kent
curious.
State yet, but the Civil War is over. Racism lost, bitch. Get the fuck over it, you know? I mean, yeah, we're looking back at history from the lens of 2017, but goddamn. And
yeah, I wanted some context. I was like, is this, like, was he racist in a time where racist was kind of accepted, even though it's not really cool at any point? You know, there was time when everybody was pretty much racist. And then there's times where, like, almost nobody is racist. So.
Now, before we go on from this little sub-conversation about racism, Adrian, are you watching American Gods yet?
I am not.
Oh, my fucking God.
I heard your thing about it with Holly, though. All I remember is some lady swallowing some dude into herself.
Oh, yeah, man. The goddess of love and fertility.
That makes me question whether I actually want to watch it or not.
I've got to tell you, man, it's really a phenomenal show. The reason that I bring this up is at the beginning of each episode, I mean, we're only 3 deep at this point, but at the beginning of each episode, there's almost like a little soliloquy, you know, that's showing some of the ancient gods, the gods of old, if you will, and some of the people's interactions with them. And the second episode, I want to say that the god's name is Anisi. I think is his name, but he's an African god, and he...
Khaleesi?
No, not Khaleesi. No. The Mother of Dragons does not feature. Wrong network. But it's really interesting because you're seeing a slaver ship bringing slaves from Africa over to the New World. And they're calling and they're invoking this god, and he shows up and he goes on one of the coolest, most thought-provoking, most powerful speeches that I've heard in quite some time. Like, Martin Luther King would be impressed with the speech that came out of this guy's mouth. You know, maybe more like Malcolm X would be impressed because there was a lot of profanity and it was basically about rising up. And not in a peaceful way, so Malcolm X. Sorry, I'm okay. Malcolm X then. And it was very, very cool to hear that speech, hear that power and see that performance coming out of this guy. And basically he says, you guys are fucked. This is what's going to happen, and you're fucked. Then the 20th century is going to happen. You're still fucked. Then the new millennium happens, and guess what? You're still fucked. So you know what you do? Break these chains and burn this motherfucker down. Burn this ship down. And everybody's sitting there, but if we do that, we'll die. And he just looks at him. You know what? What's worse? Dying as a slave or dying as a sacrifice to something greater? And you see the ship burn down. And, you know, I'm not taking a stance on one way or the other as far as, like, sacrifice to gods or anything like that. I just thought that it was a really powerful scene, and I thought that speech was out of control amazing. And that is the type of speech that gets you nominated for awards. That type of performance gets you nominated for shit, man. So, if you guys are not watching American Gods, you need to sit down, carve out a couple of hours, turn on Stars, and watch this shit. Because it is out of control good. And yes, the goddess of love swallows. She doesn't spit.
I feel like I'm not hearing enough surly from your end.
All right, well, that was my 2 pieces of news, man. I'm sitting here. I got a touch surly on Star Trek, but I just sucked the dick of American Gods, the whole pantheon.
2 pieces of news.
2 pieces of news.
45 minutes later.
We're not that deep in.
I love you, man. It's fine.
All right, this is supposed to be your show that I just hijacked the first half of. Adrian, take it away. What else do you got for us today?
Well, before we dive into anything else, I've got a little bit of news that I feel like we should touch on, even though we don't really talk about music all that much.
Yes, yeah, we should definitely touch on that.
So this morning, I guess they found Chris Cornell, who's the lead singer of Soundgarden and Audioslave, dead, which is, in my opinion, pretty unfortunate. I always thought he had a great voice.
Yeah.
I specifically loved that first debut album of Audioslave. There's a great number of tracks on there that I really, really enjoyed. It's a very solid album. I would recommend, if anybody hasn't heard it and you like rock with kind of a grungy tint, go check it out if you haven't. If somehow you haven't heard it yet. But yeah, I just figured that's something to touch on, because it was actually just shocking, because he's very young. He was like 52 or something.
I think he was 55. I'll look that up for you right now.
Okay, but I mean, still not that old. And I guess you're a musician, and a lot of them have struggles with
you were right, 52.
Drugs.
Good for you.
It's my show. I freaking know what I'm talking about. But yeah, he's it's just, not that old. I mean, you got Keith Richards kicking around at 175. But yeah, I was really shocked to see that. It was one of those things you're just like, you'd never expect to see that. It's kind of like, not that it's the same, but it's like when people found out that Robin Williams died, and you're like, wait, what? That's not a possibility. That can't happen.
Yeah.
So just kind of wanted to touch on that and say it's kind of sad. And actually, it's not funny, but it's a little coincidental, because a couple of days ago there was the 7-year anniversary of Ronnie James Dio passing away, and that was meaningful to me, because his music was one of the main reasons that I started to get into music, that I decided to pursue music. So it just kind of like, it's hard to believe it's already been 7 years for me. It just so I just kind of wanted to touch on that and pay homage to those 2 great musicians and great singers that aren't with us anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, Chris Cornell, this one's still really fresh too. I loved me some Soundgarden and whatnot, dude, but Audioslave really hit me. I saw them live in concert back in about 2005. I loved Cochise, but the song that really hit me, and I remember mixed CDs, how you used to burn CDs and you just make a playlist of all your shit, man.
I used to make those for my sister at college.
Well, the song Shadows on the Sun from Audioslave was on probably half of my mixed CDs. Like, every time I would burn something that was rock-based, that song was always on it. And I still remember it being used in that movie with Jamie Foxx, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is the hitman. Fuck, that's... The name of that movie is going to escape me, and then you're going to start talking, and I'm just going to blurt it out. Collateral. It was called Collateral. They had a little montage that featured a wolf in that movie, and that's the first time I heard it, and I just fell in love with that song. And as soon as I heard about his death, that song just clicked right into my head, and it's been playing on loop the entire day. So, we will miss you, Chris Cornell. Big fucking bucket of wind, dude. Big bucket of wind.
Which one was, what song were you talking about?
I think it was called Shadows on the Sun.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see it here. Yeah, I mean, just even looking over the track list from this album, I'm like, oh, yep, that song was awesome. That song was awesome.
Like a Stone.
Like a Stone was incredible.
Oh, man.
Gasoline was good. What You Are, Set It Off. I always really liked I Am the Highway was one of my favorites. And actually, one of the last songs on that album, Getaway Car, I remember liking a lot. Although I don't really remember how it goes. I just remember, I totally... That's like a deep cut on that album.
Right.
But that entire album is pretty impressive, especially being a debut album. So,
big bucket of win, man. Another person that I really want to touch on who unfortunately passed away last week. Amazing character actor Michael Parks unfortunately passed as well. So while we're in the middle of giving a tribute to some people that we lost, we should do more often because there's so many people. 2016 alone, it kept taking people from us.
16 was awful.
It was the year that George R.R. Martin wrote.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, it was like Game of Thrones live action version. But so many people that we lost, man. But Michael Parks, you might know him from the movie Tusk, where he played Howard Howe. Django Unchained, he was in Argo, he played Jack Kirby. Red State, he played Pastor Eamon Cooper. He had a small bit part as Jacques Renault in Twin Peaks, which, by the way, you guys, if you're excited about Twin Peaks, we got a 3-part series that's going to culminate with a Facebook Live right up on our Nerdynomicon group page. So, Michael Parks was in Twin Peaks, so nice little self-promotion there as well. But where I first encountered Michael Parks in cinema was in the opening 5 minutes of From Dusk Till Dawn, Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez movie. He played the sheriff that kind of goes on his rent right there at the beginning, Sheriff Earl McGraw. Just a mind-bogglingly good performance. I mean, spoiler alert for a movie that's, let's see, that was 1997, so 20-year-old movie, Jesus. 1996. He dies in the first 5 minutes. He just gets shot through the back of the head by Quentin Tarantino's character. But the performance that he delivers as Earl McGraw is just out of control good. This guy loved acting and he loved actors. And he will be sadly missed. It's just so unfortunate that he wasn't in more stuff, more big stuff, so that more people would know who he is. But lovers of hardcore cinema, they definitely know who he is. And if you're a fan of Kevin Smith, you know who he is. If you're a fan of Twin Peaks, you know Jacques Renault. You know, big bucket of win, man. Michael Parks will be missed.
So that's the sad news.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got. I think that's it for news. So I have a fucking boatload of movies that I watched recently. I really do. I'm going to touch on one first that does not fit with the other ones.
One of these things is not like the other. Hey!
So we just recently watched Angelina Jolie in that Maleficent movie. Did you ever see that one?
Oh, God, yeah, I saw it.
It was surprisingly okay. Here's my one comment. So it's basically the story of Sleeping Beauty, right? That's fair?
Yeah.
I'm not stretching anything when I say that that's what it is, because it's basically exactly what it is from just a slightly different perspective. In this... I hear you growling. Save it. Save it for your dragon audition for Mexican Dragon.
I'm auditioning for myself.
I will not speak any more on this movie, but the one thing I want to bring up, if it's Sleeping Beauty, in this version, she was asleep for like an hour.
Like, she really was, right? Man. She really was.
Like, are you kidding me?
Look, I didn't hate the movie. I really didn't. But why do you always... this is me speaking directly to Hollywood. Why do you always have to make movies that are centered around the villain, if it has to do with fairy tales, why do you try to make them some sort of tragic heroes? Because in the end, Maleficent's all happy and lovey-dovey, and everybody's okay, and, you know, yeah, it's a good time. You know, shiny, happy people on the Pretension-Sea Turnpike here. Just make it a movie about Maleficent. That is a horrifying character. You know, she's got the demonic horns going up. She can turn into a fucking dragon. She turns into a dragon, man.
Well, not in this one.
No, not in this one. In this one, it's essentially almost like, kind of like Jessica Jones, almost like a rape survivor story. Only in this case, the rape is metaphorical, as the one dude chops off her wings. And now she's all...
Hey, you don't know if he did anything else.
You don't. I'm assuming he didn't because it's Disney. He was anti-Semitic, not a rapist. But, I don't know, man. had that metaphor going for it, which was powerful in its own right, but you just turned Maleficent into a tragic hero or a tragic villain or a tragic story, misunderstood. I think that it can be done in a way that's still good and still resonates. I mean, they do it almost every week on Once Upon a Time. Making the evil queen Regina relatable, so much so that you care about the evil queen in Snow White. They did the same thing with Maleficent and Maleficent's daughter in Once Upon a Time as well. That's how it should be done. This movie was not terrible, but it was by no stretch of the imagination great.
Yeah. I was surprised. I expected it to be terrible, so I was surprised that it wasn't pleasantly.
Yeah. I went into it expecting something. I didn't get it, so it put a bad taste in my mouth, but it still was not terrible. It's worth a viewing. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll fall down on my side. You know what we haven't done in a couple of weeks? We haven't given ratings.
I feel like we've done ratings.
We might have done ratings. How should we rate this one?
Oh. Okay, before we move on, even though I said I was going to say one thing.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. The curse is if she gets past, before her whatever birthday, 16, and she's going to prick her finger on a spinning wheel or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the king orders them all destroyed, but then keeps them all in his house. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, that happened.
If you're going to destroy them. And they didn't even really destroy them. They just kind of burned them and left them there. Like, they're still pretty much intact. They're not really destroyed.
I got nothing, man. I just got nothing.
A very poor decision.
Oh, man. Seeing as though you're the musical one, I half expected you to just launch into music right there. I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. But unfortunately,
this is not Into the Woods.
You left it for me. That was from Sleeping Beauty. That wasn't...
I know, but Into the Woods is the fairy tale where they're all singing, right? They're bringing all the fairy tale shit into the musical form. Well, this is Nerdynomicon. We don't do that here.
Sometimes we burst into song.
Not on my show.
All right. Out of 5 spinning wheels, what do you give Maleficent?
I feel like this is harsher than it should be, but I just don't feel comfortable giving it more. I'd say 2.
Yeah, I was going to say about 2. It's not terrible. It really is not, but it's not great by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like Angelina Jolie phones it in like she does. I think overall, and I'm going to be very unpopular for this, I think she's a very dramatically overrated actress. I think she's got her moments, but this was definitely not one of them. It's not a terrible movie. I wouldn't cringe if it was on in the background in a room that I'm in, like I would with Phantom Menace. But I don't know.
I think to explain my scale, I think on a scale of 5, it's not linear. It's more like exponential. It's like or like a maybe parabola, whatever. It's not like a straight line. It's not like 1 and 2 are the same distance apart as 2 and 3.
Okay.
Like I'd say 3 is probably like average. 2 is kind of mediocre.
Okay.
4 is above average. 5 is the best thing ever, and 1 is someone chopped my dick off. Pretty much is like I think that's my rating scale. So it wasn't so bad that someone chopped my dick off, but it was below average.
Somebody didn't chop your dick off, but they used a little teeth.
I hope not.
Yeah, Maleficent used a little teeth. Let's be honest. She didn't chop your dick off, but there was some teeth.
You can't blame her though. She was very horny.
All right, so Maleficent, 2 spinning wheels, right up. What else you got for us?
So that was the only one that was kind of separate from all the other ones.
Okay.
So the rest is kind of like a boatload of horror-y suspense. Kind of, they're all in that same vein.
Ooh,
and so
I love it.
I got like 4 of them, but I don't really want to talk about 4 movies. We don't have the time for that. And I want to see if you watched or remember any of these and if you want to talk about specific ones.
Okay.
So, I watched a little movie called Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I have heard of it. I did watch the trailer. I have not seen it.
Okay. We also watched one called Victor Frankenstein, which has Harry Potter.
Unfortunately, I have not seen that one either.
We watched The Woman in Black, also featuring Harry Potter.
I loved that movie. I thought it was one of the best period pieces that has been made in horror movies.
Okay, so we'll probably touch on that one. And then we also watched 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Fuck yes, man. That was a great movie. Absolutely great movie. John Goodman deserves all the awards.
Hey, reel it in, Surly. Come on now.
My bad. Continue on.
But no, it was awesome. So I guess we'll talk mostly about The Woman in Black and 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay.
Oh, and you know what? We were on a Harry Potter fest, I guess, because we also watched the one where he is a skinhead. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't. Have you seen Horns, based on the novel by Joe Hill?
Yes, we did. We saw that. I think we talked about that like a year or so ago.
I think we did too.
But yeah, I think it's called Insurgents, or I don't remember. But yeah, if you
Horns.
Get a chance to, no, I'm talking about the skinhead one.
Oh,
keep up, man!
God damn it, Adrian, Steve.
We got to keep it moving, man. But yeah, if you get a chance to watch that one, I would recommend it. It was interesting. It's not really horror. It's more of a suspense thriller, but it's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
So let's swing back around to The Woman in Black.
Okay.
You said you loved it.
I loved it.
Now, did you know it's... did you watch the movie that it's based off of? This was like a redo, or I don't want to say reboot because it's not like it was a series, but it's like a cover. They did like a cover of the original The Woman in Black. Did you ever see that one?
Probably a long time ago. I knew that it was a reimagining of The Woman in Black, the original version, and I know that I've seen it. I just don't really remember it all that well.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That was one of my childhood friends' like favorite movies. He loved the original.
Shout out to Adrian's childhood friend.
Yep. Ben, what's up? So, I bet he would probably be like, oh, that one was shit. Because it's not. He loves the whole aesthetics of the old one. I think it's in black and white, and it was creepy.
It's because a lot of those old black and white movies were really, really good. Like the original Haunting, the original House on Haunted Hill. The atmosphere of those movies was incomparable to the remakes.
I feel like they had to do more. They had to work harder for it because they didn't have these great special effects back then.
Right.
They didn't have fantastic cameras.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, how can we make this grainy black and white bullshit? Not that it's bullshit, but how can we make this like scary? How can we get this feel across? And so they had to work a lot harder, and they had to play games with you and mental shit. So, yeah. So I liked it. I think one of the things that they didn't, that they did not pull from the original that I know Ben would have been super disappointed on, and I just kind of thought about it, and they had a great use of the sound of, so the basic premise is there's a house, it's haunted by this woman in black. She's there because there was an accident. It's this house that's like out on, I don't know if it's a moor or something. It's basically, it's only accessible when the tide is out. And then there's just this like little land bridge that kind of gets out there, but when the tide comes in, it becomes like a boggy, swampy marsh that you can't really get
Exactly.
through.
It's almost like it closes itself off. It's completely isolated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally isolated, but only
it's
when
like the Overlook Hotel in England. Only there's no snow, there's no craziness like that. No, it's just bogs and swamps and fog and miserable weather.
So the thing that the original one did was so the woman is there, and it's related to this accident where this stagecoach went off the little land bridge because of the fog or whatever, and they got stuck in the marsh and people died, and so that's the reason she's haunting it.
It was too foggy. You can't go out there in your horse-drawn carriage. It's too foggy. Oh no, they're all dying. No.
You sound like Mr. Bill.
I'm Lady Bill. I'm gonna haunt the house now because everyone's dying. It's too foggy. There's a swamp. I'm sorry. I actually do love this movie too.
But they would replay over and over the audio. Like the scene would get really foggy in the original, and then they would play the audio of a stagecoach crashing into the swamp and people screaming and children crying and this and that.
And Mr. Bill's in the background. Everybody's drowning and crying because I'm a lady in black.
So, yeah, but that was something that they didn't really draw on so much. This one focused more on her appearing, which of course they did that a little bit in the other one too.
Right.
But her appearing and floating towards you, and I think she was much more visible in this.
Definitely,
this remake
definitely was much more visible. What I really liked about it is how her appearance was almost a harbinger of death. So she came for you, you saw her, but essentially that meant like almost like in Final Destination, how your clock is pretty much expiring. You know what I mean? I thought that was a really interesting take on her.
Yeah, it's like you're already dead if you've seen her, pretty much. Yeah. Or, you will be soon, you just don't realize it. It's
like homegirl might not get you, the bog might, and you might your last thought might just be, why the hell is Mr. Bill screaming at me? Because it's in a bog! I'm the Lady Bill! That is just horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Adrian's over there. This is supposed to be my show. Why the hell are you doing Mr. Bill impressions?
Okay, I let you off the leash, man.
You did.
Normally you have to drive the show. You have to keep everything together. I took the reins, and this is what happens.
Adrian's over there. Fuck. Come on, Robbie. Stay on task.
I just want to apologize to all of our listeners.
You really want to see me get off the leash? Check out Couldn't Be Models every Monday morning.
So, on a scale of white to black, how would you rate The Woman in Black?
Oh, paint it black, bro. Paint it black. I'm assuming that black is good, considering we're talking horror movies.
I mean, yes. I would go with an extremely dark gray.
How many shades?
Out of 50, I would say 46.
46 shades? Wow, you really did love this movie.
I thought it was pretty good.
46 out of 50 shades of gray. The 50th being black, huh? Wow. Realistically speaking, I would have to say probably 43 shades of black for me. I think that it was lacking a couple of things, but it had most of them there. It was one of the best period pieces because I do enjoy period piece shows, okay? It doesn't really matter what period they're set in, but when people hear period piece, for whatever reason, it tends to be Victorian. I do enjoy them, but I don't really like them messing too much with my horror. There's only been a few that have really gotten to me that I thought were either really, 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 really good or really, 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 really scary. And the woman in Black is definitely on that list. It's right there next to The Others, which had some scenes that kept me up at night, and Crimson Peaks. I think that it falls into that camp, but I would say that it's the third on that list. But I would still say that it's a solid 43. Followed by The Others at about 46, followed by Crimson Peaks at about 48.
I think they did a really good job of making the actual character of the Woman in Black, just look creepy and scary.
Yes. She looked menacing without looking cartoonish.
Yeah. I think the only one, and you may or may not agree with this, the only movie that featured someone so prominently as like in that role that I think potentially did it better, although the movie as a whole was probably a fair bit worse. There's a movie called Dead Silence.
Yes.
And they did a fantastic job of making that woman look
Mary Shaw
fucking creepy and scary as shit.
Now that's it.
The movie itself not as great probably.
No,
but,
no.
They did a fantastic job on the makeup and all that.
Now I've got to say about Dead Silence, I love that movie. I realize that movie is really bad and riddled with plot holes. And for the love of God, is there only 5 people in the entire fucking town? Seriously. And what the hell is up with that nursery rhyme? Who the hell teaches these kids these nursery rhymes? It's just wrong. You don't do it. You don't commemorate the death of a ventriloquist lady that the townspeople burned to death. But, well, spoilers for Dead Silence, I guess. But I thought that movie was great. I thought it was the atmosphere. Everything I loved about Dead Silence, you also get in The Woman in Black. I feel like Dead Silence did it better, but not by much.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. With her and with that like main evil protagonist, like ethereal, supernatural protagonist.
Right.
I feel like Dead Silence really nailed that aspect. It just fell short on so much else that it was not a better
Exactly.
movie.
Whereas The Woman in Black did damn good in that aspect and was by far the superior movie.
Yes.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with your analysis there.
So
good comparison.
If anyone hasn't seen it,
deep cuts, too, with Dead Silence.
Dead Silence, man. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out.
Oh, man. Yeah, you guys can find that on Netflix and Hulu.
That one has some legit, like, skin-crawling moments.
It does.
Like,
and it also has some legit, I want to turn this movie off moments.
Yeah.
It is one of the good bad movies, okay? This movie has a lot of good things going for it. It has a lot of bad things going for it, too. But so much so that it's still enjoyable. Just don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, pretty much.
So good comparison there. I like that.
Yep. So that covers Woman in Black. Let's hit up 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yes, 10 Cloverfield Lane, bitch. What?
I thought it was phenomenal.
As did I.
I did not see the original Cloverfield, so I didn't really have any...
completely different.
I don't really have any reference going into it. It has nothing to do with it at all.
No, it does have tie-ins. Spoilers for 10 Cloverfield Lane. It does have tie-ins. Okay, did you want to...
That's what I thought, but they were separate. They were very separate movies.
Absolutely separate. The whole idea about Cloverfield is it's a kaiju movie that's told through first person. Okay, it's a found footage movie that just happens to be a kaiju about some sort of an invasion with this weird alien-esque creature, Godzilla for the new millennium, before Godzilla got remade. And it was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I thought the acting was spectacular. I loved it for what it was. 10 Cloverfield Lane had so many other elements going for it. And the spoiler for 10 Cloverfield Lane, again, spoilers, at the end, you find out that everything that the crazy guy played by John Goodman, the guy that's kidnapping people, everything that he was afraid of was, for the most part, accurate. There was some craziness going on. There were some creatures out there. And that's where the tie-in comes. And there is going to be a third. And these movies do all tie in together, but it's shot completely different. It focuses on different aspects. It has that paranoia feeling, Oh,
yeah. They did a great job.
Yes.
Because I think one of the biggest aspects of having a successful horror movie is finding a way to isolate your characters. Because it's not scary if you can just run away or if there's a million people around. So what you have to do is you have to take all these extra people out of the equation. You have to take all this extra room out of the equation. It's like, if you're being chased by zombies and they're slow as shit and you have 100,000 miles that you can go away from them, and it's not scary. If you are being chased by zombies and you are trapped in a room, that's fucking scary.
Definitely, man. Not just the plot there in this movie was so good, but also the acting. The writing was good. But it was... To me, it was the performances. John Goodman, I'm so used to seeing him as Dan in Roseanne. I'm used to seeing him as the happy, kind of lovable dad in Coyote Ugly. I'm used to seeing him in Blues Brothers 2000. These comedic roles, these I want to give him a hug roles. In this movie, he was legitimately frightening. And you could see that almost Eileen Wuornos psychosis in his eyes, where he goes from ready to fucking kill you. Like, he will mangle your body to a light switch turns on. I was just about to get some ice cream. Golly gee willikers, and just kind of skips right out the room. And I'm just like, I'm left there feeling like, wow, I don't understand what's going on. This guy seems so insane. But what if he's right? Because he played it so convincingly as well. Like...
He floated really well back between, like, okay, he's super insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, this dude's crazy. He's got crazy ideas, and none of this makes any sense. And then he's like, oh, he seems okay now. Well, maybe he's not as crazy. And so he was just so great at going back and forth between that. And I don't know. I would say, you say you always see him as like the lovable. I don't want to say loser, but the lovable, friendly guy. But I mean, he wasn't necessarily all that lovable in Big Lebowski. Not that he was a total asshole. Well, he actually kind of was a total asshole.
He was, yes, but at the same time, you still love him for it. This movie is one of the few times I've been repulsed by him, and that to me is a testament to his acting. Yeah. I thought that he fucking nailed it. John Goodman is one of the best supporting actors ever to ever walk this earth. People can say what they want about Daniel Day-Lewis and, Glenn Close, anybody like that.
I think it starts with an M.
Yes, Meryl Streep. Thank you.
There we go.
Meryl Streep.
It was team effort.
Team effort on that one. Meryl Streep. None of these people can be denied their talent. They're all amazing in starring performances. John Goodman is very good in starring performances, but he's the one that you bring in to make your movie your movie. Nobody can compare, in my opinion. Nobody can compare. People can come close, but John Goodman wins it hands down every time. And the fact that he was not the recipient of an Oscar for this movie shows how rigged the Oscar system is, because he and Michael B. Jordan should have had all the Oscars for their roles in 10 Cloverfield Lane and Creed, respectively. It's just a tragedy, because this movie was amazing from top to bottom. You had the paranoia of being trapped in this underground bomb shelter the entire time. You had the mystery of finding out, is this man crazy or is there something going on here? You had the serial killer aspect. You had the psychosis. And then ultimately, you had these weird creatures that we still don't know if they're aliens or maybe like old ones, Cthulhu-like, or maybe they're just creatures that have risen from the ocean and now the oceans are attacking us. We still don't know. So you've got that mystery going forward as well. I don't know, man. The tie-ins that this movie had with the original were just so seamless. It was its own standalone movie, but it's still tied in. I have nothing negative to say about 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I don't either. I thought it was phenomenal. I would highly recommend it to anybody that likes suspenseful movies.
Right.
It's not really a straight horror movie like monster, slasher, or anything like that. Supernatural. It's just that claustrophobic, people can be fucking nuts, like what's going to happen kind of movie. It's almost like Misery, almost.
Yes, absolutely. Where the claustrophobia puts the emphasis on the acting, and if you nail it, you knock it out of the park. Yep.
So, out of how many Cloverfield lanes would you give it out of 10? I'm going full 10.
You're going full 10?
I feel like I have to, since I'm the Robbie today.
Because I'm surly Robbie today, I'm going to stop at 9. But I'm going to go a couple of feet past that sign mark, okay? So I'm still walking toward 10, but I'm going to say that I'm closer to the 9-mile mark there. 9 lanes.
Okay. I feel like if we were in normal rules, it would have been 11 for you.
It probably would have. But I'm supposed to be the crotchety one tonight. All right, so what else you got for us tonight, Adrian?
So the final thing, since we are skipping movies that you have not seen, which I think is fair, because I don't have... We've done a lot. I think we should go to our main topic.
Okay.
And that is going to be, if you had to choose a horror universe to be trapped in, which one would you choose and why?
Ooh.
And I'm going to add a little extra bit to you, because I think it should be obvious and it's clearly implied in the title, but I didn't say it before, but I'm going to say it now. It's you have to actually be affected by the horror in this universe. You can't just be like, oh, I picked the Exorcist and I never come across, or I picked the Poltergeist and I never come across it, so I'm fine. Like that's
who the fuck would pick that? Who the fuck would even say that? God, those people just get out. Just switch over. Look over there. So many options. Who would do that?
So you actually have to come into contact with this horror that you are choosing.
No problem.
In some fashion.
No problem. I got my answer ready for you.
Okay, we probably have a similar answer, because I think there's really only one right answer, but you might surprise me. So go ahead.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Hands down.
What? That is the absolute wrong answer.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Hands down. No questions. There are various reasons on why for this. First off, we're going to be living in a world where somebody legitimately has the ability to pull people into their dreams. So I can dream hop and find out what's in other people's heads. That's one. Two, for somebody,
if you survive.
For somebody that's supposed to be so damn powerful, there sure are a hell of a lot of ways to vanquish this motherfucker. And furthermore, I think I would be perfect to write the reboot script for the next Nightmare on Elm Street, because I can tell you the one thing that they never have gotten rid of in the real world is fucking claws. Goddamn right. Furthermore, going to Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which in my opinion is by far the best one, they introduced the concept of dream powers. I would kick ass with the dream powers, man. I wouldn't be like the wizard that falls down flat on his face because he ends up underestimating Freddy. Sorry, kid, I don't believe in fairy tales. Hell no, dude. I know this Freddy. I'm assuming that I'm coming into this with prior knowledge as well, yes?
I want to say no.
Well, that changes things a little bit, but I'm still going there.
I'm not gonna let you be a god in Dream World just because it exists.
With my personality, I would be a god in Dream World anyway, dude.
If he didn't kill you first, you'd be the first one off the island if this was Nightmare on Elm Street Survivor.
Dude, I would stay to the island till every motherfucker is rescued, because not only would I have all this prior knowledge, I would be a dream god. But on top of that, I respect Freddy, because motherfucker takes pride and joy in his work. How many killers do you see that just seem to enjoy what they do? You know, he's happy with his chosen profession. He's got the knife fingers. He's absorbing some souls. He transports said souls into meatballs on a pizza and then eats them right in front of his victim's eyes. This guy, he enjoys his craft. I respect that. I respect his spirit. I'm sorry, but his puns, they're still funny. Welcome to prime time, bitch. Slams her head into the TV. Absolutely hysterical. I met her, by the way. The girl that plays that actress. Or that character. She, freaky.
She has brain damage.
I think she does, actually.
From that scene.
I think she does, actually. She was a very, very nice girl, but she was, in fact, doing the Thorazine shuffle. So, that's neither here nor there. That was a really surly Robbie thing to say. I'm surly Robbie tonight, god damn it. But I'm going to stick with my answer, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, you're dead wrong, but that's okay.
All right, what do you got for me?
You can try to pick apart mine, I guess.
What do you got for me?
You can't, because it's fantastic. I'm going to say I'm going to go with zombies. I'm going to go with the Day of the Dead variety, the kind of slow shamblers. Because I feel like that's the easiest ones, to deal with.
The shamblers.
I'm sure as shit not picking, like, fucking any of that spiritual bullshit that you can't fucking fight.
Oh, hell no. Why would you choose that? Like, God, no.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's like, if you actually want to survive, I feel like the safest bet is zombies. Even if you don't, because here's the thing. Let's assume that I don't have prior knowledge of this. I mean, there's still lore about zombies, right. But which specific type of zombies, it doesn't matter. If they're slow, you just run away. You just outrun them. Or you're living constantly on the run. But
what about herds? What about lurkers? The zombies that have broken legs that just happen to be in the tall grass that grabs your ankle when you go out to take a piss.
You don't go through the tall grass.
Furthermore, have you ever watched The Walking Dead?
I have seen, the earlier seasons. We just talked about this. I stopped at the prison. Yeah. After they destroyed the prison, I was like, I'm out.
It wasn't an actual question. It was a rhetorical question. I'm also reading the comics right now, as I believe they said previously. I would definitely not choose that type of a post-apocalyptic world to live in, and it's not because of the zombies. Because I feel, maybe this is me being arrogant, but I feel like I know exactly what type of character I would be in a zombie apocalypse. It's the other people. It really is. I know what type of person I am. I may be a dick, and I may make off-colored jokes sometimes, but I would like to think that I have a good heart. I like to label myself as I'm a bad guy, but I'm a good person. with some of the things that I say, because even in Couldn't Be Models, we kind of go off the rails making fun of things sometimes. Most of the time, we mean it, and most of the time, at least in our opinion, our subjects are more than justly, zeroed in on. Like, I don't think anybody has any questions what my political affiliations are in this current administration. And as much as we mock almost everybody involved from top to bottom, I'm sorry, but I think that they all deserve it. But it usually is for the betterment. It's usually to light a candle. In this type of a world gone mad, I don't know if I would be able to retain the same type of personality and type of person that I am. Win, lose, or draw in a Nightmare on Elm Street scenario, I feel like I could help people. I feel like I could have some fun with it, just with my personality. And if I end up dying, I end up dying. But at least I go out in my terms in a dream world. In this type of zombie-infested, post-apocalyptic world, I feel like it would change me too much, just the same way that it changed Rick Grimes, or changed Abraham, or changed Glenn, to a lesser extent, but it still changed him. The way it changed Carl, from a happy-go-lucky kid to essentially a sociopath. I could see that happening to me, and that's not the type of person that I would want to become. So,
I get that, but you know what? You still, this is quite the throwback. You just have to execute my strategy of going to France. Do you remember that?
I do, but I'm pretty sure that was in Polygon Table.
Yeah, it was.
So
this is like a multi-year throwback almost.
Yeah, keep in mind, dude, we've got thousands of new listeners on this show, okay, that don't know that reference. So
Go find it.
explain France to the people.
Okay, well, this is only applicable to some of us. But the first thing you want to do in a zombie apocalypse, if you're from the United States, is you want to get to France as fast as you can. Because no French zombie would ever touch an American. Be like, that stupid American.
Prince, I go over there, stupid American.
Oh, yeah. I had a whole French bit.
Yes, you did.
I'll have to try to remember it. Oh, yeah. Okay, it was like, brun. Les brins, je ne mens pas, les brins d'Américain. C'est très stupide. Something along those lines.
Something like that. It was definitely a good bit. It was a good bit.
The joke that keeps on giving. As we alienate all of our French listeners, however many there might be.
Actually, we do have a lot of listeners in France. I don't know by a lot, but we do have some listeners in France. We love you, France. Seriously.
When I take over the show, we start insulting France. I'm so sorry.
Adrian, you're bringing up zombies. Have you watched Train to Busan yet?
I have not.
Oh, my God. You got to watch that, man. Such a good movie. Such a smart zombie movie. And so cool to see zombies done in Korea. It's amazing. Amazing movie. But no, I definitely get your answer. I hope you understand why I wouldn't choose that one.
Because you want to die. It's fine.
Dude, I'd kick Freddy's ass. Are you kidding me right now? I'd be Alice in this motherfucker.
I don't think so. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't have confidence in you. I think you have overconfidence in you. And remember, we're going into this with no prior knowledge.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that always drives me crazy about horror movies. And there's one that I think I've recommended to you a long time ago. I don't know where it is, if you could find it. I think it's called Husk. And it's one of those things where the characters start making these assumptions about how this, horror... by the thing that they're being terrorized. They're making assumptions on how it works with no real proof. Mm-hmm. And it comes back to bite them, And that's one of those things, because there's always like, oh, I think I figured out the story. He kills children because in their dreams because he wore a striped sweater and they made fun of him. So all we have to do is destroy the sweater and then he'll be gone, or some shit like that. And there's just all these wild assumptions about how to get rid of these things, and half the time they work. And it's like, that should be like a 1 in a million chance that this works, not every other movie.
Yeah, I agree. Even without the prior knowledge, I still stick with Nightmare on Elm Street. Because at least if I die, I get to die in a cool way.
Okay, I could see that. I could see you dying in a cool way.
I appreciate that, man.
Sunglasses, throwing up West Side.
West Side! I don't know, Adrian. I think you did pretty good tonight running this show. I really do.
I think I did damn well.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to take it over. It's going to be my show now. You're kicked off. No, just kidding.
So what do you guys think? Did Adrian do a good job? You can reach out to us anytime you want, man. Email us, nerdynomicon@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at the Nerdynomicon. You can tweet at me at Robbie the Saber, spelled with an R-E. Adrian, where do they find you?
At King Awesome, 2 G's. And you know what? We should have them rate this episode. I'm trying to think of a ridiculous rating system that we could go off of, because we rated everything else.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What
on a scale of... I got it.
Okay.
On a scale of Holly Michelle playing Candyland to zombies in your Freddy Krueger nightmare, how good was this show? And we're talking about horror movies, so of course the horror movies is better.
Okay, that's an interesting scale. That's an interesting scale. I don't know how you quantify that, but that was an interesting scale. I like this. So let us know what you guys think. If you guys like what we're doing, if you want to help us keep the lights on, if you guys want access to some bonus content, some extra perks, you can always hit us up, patreon.com/artfulgremlins. Donate $1, $2, $5. Any little bit helps. Everything helps. And also do not forget to rate and especially review us on iTunes. Every single one of those. Every rating and every review helps us climb further on the charts so that more people can see us. There's a lot of pop culture podcasts out there. There's a lot of them, but how many of them bring you this shit? There's a lot of people just sitting there talking monotone, and they're like, so, I like this. This is good. And do you remember that movie? That was good. Come on, we're better than that, doofus. Seriously. So every single one of those helps us move higher up on the charts. I think that's pretty much it, right?
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's how they find us. That's how they support us. That's how they rate and review us. I think we're ready to get out of here. So until next time, I've been Robbie.
And I've been Adrian.
Let's close the book on this week.